You're like not very, not too much on social media. Should start like texting your phone instead.
Yeah. If I'm on my phone, I'll get it, but let's see. Okay. This is episode 42.
Yeah.
Let's see here. You already updated Restream?
Yeah. I thought I had done everything, but I forgot to move the mic. Fucking whatever. Didn't test those headphones. Let me open Restream chat too. Okay, this is live now. Test.
It's streaming. It's not.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Pretty sure everyone can hear us. Sup, dudes? Everyone. I think everyone's here. So.
Okay.
Okay. Grandpa said he can hear us both, so at least we know the audio is working now. Yeah, sorry guys. We're not very good at the Zoom call thing. So, but you know, we'll get it. We'll get around to it. Ben's just posting an update to our Facebook, and then we will get started with the actual content. What's not working?
What's up?
Philip said it's not working, but I don't know what he meant by that.
Uh-oh. That's not good. Let's see, one more thing. Okay.
So open up OBS.
Mm-hmm.
And does everything look fine in OBS?
Yeah, I haven't recorded yet.
Okay.
But I'm getting ready to do that right now. Is there something going on?
Or not I was making sure the video looked all right.
Oh, okay.
In OBS. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're ready to rock, man. So.
Cool. All right.
Everything else. Yeah, have you already updated Restream and all that?
Yeah, and I have the Restream chat up right now, so.
Okay, so we should be pretty good.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, I'm gonna start recording. All right.
Cool. What's up, everyone? Episode 42.
What's up, guys?
Sorry for the shitty timing. That's my bad. I'll take some accountability for that one. I went to go get some fucking food, and well, it took longer than I thought. But also, when we got there, they're like, "Oh, I think the food's in the back," and then they made my food wrong. So I'm just salty about that. They put mayonnaise on my fucking burger, dude.
Jesus, where at?
Red Robin in Hawks Prairie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we left at 7 or 6:30, so I thought we'd be back at 7, but apparently not.
Do they have vegan options, or do they just make their burgers vegan, or
they have a vegan patty? Yeah, they have vegan patties. They also have Impossible patties there too. So.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, but yeah, they put mayonnaise on my fucking burger. I was like, "Are you serious?" So I just took the top bun off and just ate the bottom bun in the patty.
Yeah, that could be our rant too. I had a different rant, but we can actually rant on that because I feel you. That just happened to me the other day.
All right, yeah, let's do that.
We'll call that vegan fuck ups.
Oh yeah, that did just happen the other day. It's just fucking annoying.
It is annoying, man. Get with the times, people. So yeah, welcome guys to episode 42. Moving right along, getting closer to episode 50. And so,
you know, when we get to episode 51, we'll have been doing it for 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
we'll have like a 50th episode anniversary episode.
Little fiesta.
Yeah, exactly. We'll pop some champagne.
Yep. Some champagne. All right, just for the 50th.
Damn it! I should have got that wine that homeowner was giving me.
Oh yeah.
She gave me some wine, and I was like, I don't drink wine.
Yeah. I feel like wine. People that like drink wine on a regular basis drink that like dark, hard to drink wine too. You're like, geez, man.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, oh, it's Merlot. You're like, it's garbage.
I've never had a wine that tastes good, man. And there might be some out there. I don't know of any. I have very, very bad experiences with the wine.
Yeah, I like the like white Zinfandel, like the really light wines, but they're still harsher. I'd rather drink a beer still.
Yeah.
And then, my grandpa said it's his 6-year anniversary today with his new wife. So congratulations.
Oh, nice. Yeah, congratulations, dude. That's cool.
Didn't realize it's been 6 years. That's crazy.
Nice. Yeah, that's really cool. I think that's really cool when people, when you find a partner late in your later years in life, I think it's a lot easier too, maybe. I don't know. As far as what I mean by easier, it's probably harder to find a mate, but it's a lot easier to make it work when you do.
I think so. I feel like, I don't know, maybe you feel this way. I don't know. Well, you're not dating right now, but I feel like the older I get, the easier relationships get. I feel like your hormones and you don't know how to deal with your emotions when you're younger. So
yeah, and that might be true for you. I'll ask you this question when you're like 40. Be like, remember when you said relationships are easier as you get older? I was like, let's recap this right now. How's it been the last 20 years?
Yeah. Think about that, dude. When I'm 40, you'll be 49.
Yeah, I know. That's weird.
Yeah. Are you actually drinking the Corona today, or is that another soda?
This is a Corona. Celebrating 50th anniversary early. You want to hit him with the plugs really quick before we start getting into it?
Yeah. I almost forgot. Can we get you guys to check us out on Apple and Spotify, and then as always, our live streams are on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and then also check us out on Instagram and Twitter.
There you go. There you have it. So now you know where to find us. Man, we got some. It's weird because I was like left to just kind of fill in all these topics here and the
juicy
pinch
stuff.
Not really, no. It's kind of lame. Well, not really. I got some things to talk about, but I was definitely in a hurry, and I was like, I think there's some more things I really wanted to talk about, but just didn't have enough time. I also got here like 6:45, so.
Oh, did you?
Like 15 minutes.
This is like the one time where like you're early and I'm late.
I know, right? I literally just ran up here too and started like trying to work on topics and stuff at the last minute.
Right.
So just one of those days, man. Just couldn't get everything I needed to done. Took the ferry out to Vashon Island and did some bids out there. And then doubled back across over to Spanaway to do some bids out there, and then doubled back to my office downtown to go do an interview. And so, just squeezing in every bit of time before I could get here on time. Yeah.
I'm trying to replace that dude that just quit.
Just trying to get more dudes. I ain't trying to replace anybody. I just need more help in general.
More help. Oh, okay.
Oh God, that's another rant too. I can turn that into a 2-part rant.
Yeah. So Phil said, "It's gonna be okay, Ben. Kick your feet up and have a
beer." Exactly. I took your advice from last week, Phil. I got the beer. It's a little hard to kick my feet up where I'm at, but I get the point though. So maybe when it's over, I'll kick back on the couch. There's a movie I started watching last night, and then maybe I'll finish that up and then give a review on it. I can't remember what it was called. It was like it's a Netflix movie about who's that guy that played Thor?
Oh fuck, I don't know. Chris Hemsworth, is that?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, okay. he's like a military type Black Ops badass or something, rescuing this kid from like drug lord battles that are happening and stuff. So it's pretty cool. Just a classic action movie, and shoot them up, stab them up, killing people, all kinds of fighting and stuff. So
you're a big fan of those type of movies, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I was a lot, and it's hard to just bring myself to watch stuff nowadays. But yeah, I appreciate a good flick that's got some good action in it, not just fucking, I don't know, not run of the mill stuff that's just kind of churned out,
Right.
but it has to have a good storyline to it too. And I seen the preview to it before I watched it. You know, it's about him and the kid that he's rescuing, kind of forming a bond. And like apparently he had a son that died, so in a sense he's like treating this kid as his son. So had a good message to it, you know what I mean? So I was like, I can get on board with that.
Mm.
So yeah, it looks pretty good. I'll finish that tonight and see how it goes. So far,
is it a long movie?
I didn't see that. I don't really look into that. I just watch it.
Okay.
Is that what you do? You see if it's a 2-hour movie or hour and a half movie?
Dude, sometimes I'll look at a movie and I'm like, 2 hours and 45 minutes? Nah, I'm good. I don't want to commit to that.
What if it's an hour and a half?
Yeah. That's an average.
It's a 15-minute difference.
No, I said 2 hours and 45.
Oh, 2 hours and 45, like Lord of the Rings or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it's Lord of the Rings, I'll watch Lord of the Rings.
Where's the line cut off? 2 hours? 2:45 versus 2 hours.
It depends on the quality. So if it is a really good looking movie, it can be longer. But if it's like, your average movie, if it's long, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So
looks like a barn burner.
Yeah, there's a ratio for how good the movie is to how long I'm willing to watch it for. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's also what you're into too, because it might appear to a lot of people it's not a good movie, but you're just into it. Like Lord of the Rings is a great example of that. Not everybody's into that shit, but I am, and a lot of people that were into it will commit to a 3-hour movie, extended version, and all that shit.
I know. I'm about to actually get down on the extended versions of Lord of the Rings here soon, man, because it's been a while, and I've been like studying the music behind those. And I'm like, man, I don't want to watch these now again. The music's so good in those movies.
Yeah, suspenseful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of composition, really, right? It's like classical composition.
Yeah, it's really good at just telling. It like really supports the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the music is really fitting for all the. Even when you go to the Shire, it has that nice little happy little stuff.
Yeah, that's funny.
You
just said that. I was just thinking that immediately.
Yeah, you can just hear it in your head, and then like you got the Black Riders. Their theme is like very angsty. Not angsty, but like just
dark
and foreboding. And stuff. So.
Yeah, I like that.
It's good shit.
So let's see. What do we got here? So, I really didn't know.
There's not very many new things that have happened, since we.
Not really, as far as the media.
Yeah.
That was actually one of my rants was going to be like me, but that's okay. We can put that off. One of the rants was going to be about me complaining about it, like me being tired of hearing about politics and COVID-19. Those two things.
Dude, I want to rant about that too. I was talking to Heather about this. I'm just gonna name drop Roll in here. Every time I get on the fucking computer with him to play a video game, he's like, "Dude, did you hear what Trump said?"
You can't get away from it.
He's like, "Dude, the Republicans." I'm like, I will like point blank be like, "Dude, I don't care," and he'll still just keep going on. I'm like, dude, just trying to get away from the politics.
I will delete the fuck out of you if you don't shut up.
It drives me fucking crazy.
Oh, that's funny, man. It's funny. I mean, like, I'm not like pissed about it, but it's annoying. You know what I mean? It's just like a freaking mosquito in your face, and you can hear it. You know what I mean? It's like, ugh. It's like, dude, shut up, get away, get out of here.
I'm glad I don't have Facebook on my phone, because every time you open up Facebook, it's just people talking about politics all over fucking Facebook. So.
Yeah. And that being said, like, how do you feel about like people? We'll just freestyle this for a second. How do you feel about people that are like post their opinion so much online?
I don't know why they do that. I don't understand.
You're not big on that?
No, who cares?
I'm not either.
Like, if anything, I'll like, I won't unfriend them, but I'll unfollow them. I'm like, I don't need to hear your fucking political ranting on your fucking.
Is that because you don't agree with them, or just in general, just what they're talking about? You don't want to hear any of it.
I'm just sick of hearing about politics. I don't even care if it's something I support. It's like, shut the fuck up about politics, man.
You're like, yeah, I can get on board with that. Now shut up.
For real.
Just like George
it's just
Carlin
annoying.
said. Nowadays, you can just delete the fucker.
Right. Yeah. Dude, we just watched that. Me and Heather just watched that like a few days ago. She had never watched George Carlin before, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You put them in a folder. You actually don't delete them. You put them in a folder. Now they're in fucking digital perpetuity or whatever.
Yeah,
that shit's hilarious.
That's my favorite George Carlin special. That was his last one.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a lot of good ones, man. Definitely. He is my favorite comedian still, and that's saying a lot compared to Bill Burr and Chappelle and a lot of other good ones too. I think Carlin's just he's like a mastermind, dude.
Yeah. Dude, speaking of Roland's in the chat. He said both sides of a two-party system in the U.S. are the same thing. I know. So why are you always talking about them? Who cares? I'm just trying to I'm trying to like numb my brain. I'm trying to numb my brain and fucking play video games. And he's like, Republicans. I'm like, oh god.
Oh my god, that's hilarious, man. You go to a video game to escape all that bullshit and it just fucking penetrates it and you're like, oh my god, dude.
He does it during like League of Legends. I'm like trying to play a team fight and he's like, Trump said some stupid shit today. I'm like, why am I hearing this? I'm like trying to focus on it.
He's on your team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you know that, Roland, but you're distracting him, man. He's deviating from his performance. Like, you gotta be a supporting team member, man. Shit's hilarious.
You're lucky you're one of my best friends, Roland. Otherwise, I'd be like, nope. No more duoing for you, sir.
There'd be a special folder just for you.
Like, oh, sorry, I can't hear you. I guess I just have to get off the chat. My bad. I have to play with that voice chat.
I'm losing you. You got a bad connection, dude. I think it's because you're way out in the sticks.
Yeah. So,
nice.
What do you got for the Contagious?
So I was going to talk about. I was going to bring up. So it was another Candace Owens topic. Okay. She's got like 4 different things I wanted to talk about. She's got good viewpoints on some things. Obviously, I stated how she does have bad viewpoints on shit like climate change. That was pretty silly. I'm really surprised she said that. But so far, everything I've heard from her, I can get on board with, and at the very least, it provokes some thoughts and is profound. So today, I thought we could talk about some of the things she was saying. It was almost relative to a little bit about maybe a little bit about masculinity, kind of dovetailing from last episode, and then also I did want to get people's viewpoints because there was a transgender topic. When we talked about it, we kind of missed something that wasn't talked about, and I wanted to get people's opinion on that because that was one element that should have been in that episode on that topic.
You have another angle on that?
Yeah, I was curious what people thought about it because I don't think we actually talked about it. There's so much layers to the transgender thing, and for somehow we kind of missed that one. But basically, she was talking about how basically the millennials and basically anybody born after 1980 is the biggest group of entitled, privileged Americans and humans ever. And so she's kind of talking about how, before that time, a lot of people had, the human nature or the human spirit, as she likes to say, wants to triumph, wants to kind of put something to an end, wants to do something big. And what she was kind of saying was that, the millennials particularly have nothing to fight for. Because of their privilege these days. And so the way I took that is like, I kind of believe that really because that's why a lot of things are being, there's like arguments over nothing. You know what I mean? Like people looking to engage over nothing and kind of debate over nothing and like looking for problems. And it's almost like they're looking for problems rather than solving problems, or they're creating a problem and acting as if they're trying to solve a problem, but the problem's not even there. If that makes sense.
It's probably creating a problem because, like, if you think about it, living your life is like a story, right? And humans are storytellers, and every story has a conflict. So if you think about it, it kind of makes sense that these people would create conflicts, because if they don't actually have any conflicts, they have to find one somewhere. Otherwise, you just have this like monotonous life that just coasts on nothing.
Yeah. Like kind of like what she was saying, that we want to kind of fight for something. We want a goal to work towards, something big we want to be a part of. We want to put an end to something. We want to do something big,
Right.
And you're right. I think you're right. If there's nothing there, it's almost like it reminds me of like a young relationship, a traditional man and woman relationship. And it doesn't have to be man and woman. It could be, whatever, same sex relationship, but just, we've all had this moment where it just seems like things are, you'll go a few months or something, everything's just good. Everything's great. And then all of a sudden there's like a problem, and it seems like the problem is over nothing. Yeah. It's like, why are we doing this? This is, I don't know who's right, who's wrong, but I do know that this shouldn't be happening. It's like, this is bullshit.
Yeah. It's really weird, because it's like, it happens. It's called the honeymoon phase. You have the phase where you're like really into each other, and I think what it really is, though, I think what I've heard it described in like psychology, is that you're like so into that person when you first get with them, like you're infatuated with them. Yeah. That you look past their flaws and you just ignore them. And then as that wears off, you start to like get annoyed by their flaws, because you don't have that like endorphin rush at the beginning of the relationship.
Yeah.
So, I get what you're saying. It's a good analogy for sure.
That's just what I think of immediately, is like, that's a good example of it. You know what I mean? Just creating problems where there's not.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. And then you obviously got the people that are emotionally and socially unintelligent, that's their life. And unfortunately, I've been in a relationship with someone who was like that. We're constantly just creating drama. That's just all she knew. And so, obviously that's my fault. I'm not a victim by any means. When I was in it, I was definitely, before I had learned about my part in that, I did a lot of blaming and all that. And I talked about this last episode about how, taking accountability and all that. And that's a great example also of how I took accountability. Like, I put myself through suffering, and I put myself in that situation to be treated like shit. I knew what kind of person I was getting involved with, and that's kind of what I bought into, basically. But yeah, that's a great example of how, some people, so you got the people that just don't know any better, and that's what they've learned, and they're always doing it, and they don't know anything different than that. And that's just obviously a toxic mentality and relationship if you're in it. And then you got the people that are privileged and entitled, have things going very well all the time, that they have those moments where there's like reaching for a problem and creating a problem, and it's like you just can't get away from it.
Yeah. So Roland said, class warfare, quote unquote. He said, I didn't go to college because fuck student debt if it's not paid for. And then he said, how is that entitled?
Say what?
He said, quote unquote, I didn't go to college because fuck student debt. If it's not paid for, how is that entitled? I don't know if that's really worded that great.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to make sense of it right now.
I get the part about fuck student debt. Honestly, for me, I'm okay with the student debt, but I don't care that much about money. I'm just trying to get a job that I'll actually enjoy doing. That's why I'm going to college instead of working, because I was working jobs and I was working 40 hours a week, but like, I fucking hated it. I hated the jobs I was working. I just didn't want to do them because they weren't fulfilling for me. Like, I wasn't passionate about them, and I really need that personally. So yeah, I don't know, but I get that if you're worried about having like fruitful income and making a lot of money, sometimes the student debt can be very encumbersome, right? It'll weigh you down. But I don't know. I don't care so much about the money. I care more about doing something I want to do. And some of the jobs that I want to do, you need a degree for people to hire you to do those jobs. So
yeah, if you got a plan, I think it's not as daunting. The debt, rather. Debt. So there's a difference between consumer debt and business debt. Consumer debt is bad. because you have no way to pay it. Business debt is something you're using capital for to actually be able to pay off that debt. So you actually have a plan to pay that off. You're not just creating debt in hopes of being able to pay it off. You have a hard plan to use this capital to easily pay that off in X amount of time, and you actually have a plan going. But I think that it gets confused a lot. Consumer debt and business debt, or, using debt to make money. This is what we're talking about, using debt to make money. So if you can use your school debt to create money and wealth for certainty, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. The way I like to think about it is people talk about student debt like it's such a bad thing, right? Say you get $100,000 in student debt, which is a lot of debt. But on average, if you have a degree, you'll make, on average, $1 million more in your life. So if you spend $100,000 to make $1 million, you still got a net gain of $900,000 over your lifetime. So more, it's worth, right?
Yeah. More specifically, though, I think we should be more specific about that. You said if you have a degree, you'll make more money.
Statistically, you're more likely to.
Yeah, but I know what you're trying to say, but I just want to be real specific with this. Having a degree doesn't make you money. Using that degree to get yourself in a position to make more money is specifically what's going to get you to pay that debt off. I think people have that mentality where they think just having a degree, shit's going to fall on your lap. I know plenty of people who have a degree who are working minimum wage jobs or just a little above and still scraping by.
You still got to work to get your job, but there's jobs that are higher paying that you need those qualifications to even get hired. But they're not just going to fall out of the sky. You still definitely got to work for them.
I think a lot of people think
do the job search. Yeah, I know, right?
That's part of why you said it that way too, because your brain has been conditioned that by probably hearing people talk about it that way.
No, I
have a degree, so I'm going to make more.
No, I don't actually think that. I just don't.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you just said that because you probably heard it so much. It's almost been incepted in your mind because that's what people think. I have a degree, I'm going to make more money, like automatically. That's not the case.
No, I'm saying on average. So if you take all the people that don't make more money and they work shitty jobs that don't apply to the degree, there's still a bunch of other people that are making a bunch of money. We're taking the average. People with degrees on average make $1 million more in their life. Some people that, there's people that don't make more. They might even make less. Who fucking knows? And then there's people that make, $3 million more dollars in their life because, they have a degree or whatever. So, well, I'm just saying the average. It's not like a guarantee that like, I'm going to get a fucking degree and then I'm going to make $1 million more.
Yeah.
No, we're just talking about the average. So,
yeah. And then there's people that don't use a degree at all, where it was almost irrelevant. It was a waste of time. And that's just consumer debt at that point.
Yeah. But that also goes to show if they don't use their degree, that goes to show how good a degree is, right? Because if they had used their degree, that average would be higher, right? Since they're part of the average, the degree is even more useful if you actually use it than the statistics show, because there's a lot of people not even using their fucking degrees. So
I would be interested to know what those statistics really are. I bet we probably both might be surprised on the percentage of people that are not using I would even argue that it's higher than the people that are actually using their degree to make money. I don't know that for sure. That's a complete guess, but it wouldn't shock me if that's the case.
Maybe.
Just on average, in my personal experience, I know more people that have a degree and are not making the money that they expected to make or landed in a job that has nothing to do with the degree.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know as many people as you do. I don't really.
But I also don't know a lot of people with degrees, so.
Fair enough. I was just saying, I don't know that many people with degrees. Who do I know has a degree?
That I know of, anyway.
Yeah. I don't know that many people with degrees, honestly. I know a bunch of people that went to college and dropped out.
Yeah, right.
So
I know people who have gone to college for sure and got a degree, and I can think of 2 individuals that I know right now that they haven't used it. They have nothing. They're not in that field of the degree they got in. They're completely doing something in a different industry.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's when that became consumer debt. You know what I mean? Like all they did was get the degree and now they owe money on it. They're not using it. It's almost relative to just buying a car that's just sitting in the driveway that you're paying on.
Yeah, you should definitely have a plan if you're going to go to college to to use your degree. I also think that this is good. We can go back to what Roland was saying, because college used to be much cheaper and it's getting more and more and more expensive.
Yeah.
So it was even better investment back in the day.
Yeah.
There was a bigger job market for having degrees, and then college was relatively more less expensive. So it was actually affordable, where you could actually afford to go to college. You know, before you might got like, I don't know the numbers, but like, you know, if you went to college in the 70s, maybe you got like $25,000 in debt, whereas like nowadays you get 100,000.
Yeah, it's 4 times as much, exactly. I'm not sure what Roland was, how he was equating. I guess you can elaborate, Roland. I'm not sure what you meant by.
Yeah, here, let me read some stuff out, because there's some conversation going on while we're doing this, anyways.
Okay.
Roland said it's hard to type everything out. It's like how a new car costs a lot of money, and a lot of people that are privileged families are already rich and have good jobs. I don't even know what you're saying, bro. Most jobs suck and don't pay a lot, but at least we raise minimum wage to a living wage. Is minimum wage a living wage, though? I feel like it's not, because the cost of living is so high that the minimum wage isn't getting to a still living wage. We keep raising the minimum wage, but the cost of living just keeps going up as well. And it's the same thing. You might as well just not raise the cost of living and not raise the minimum wage and just keep it where it's at, because it's still the same shit.
Yeah, exactly. A livable wage is absolutely not a livable wage, and a livable wage is also subjective. A lot of us have been conditioned to think that a lower income is actually livable, just because we've gotten used to it, living with bare minimum, or what we like to fluff up and call middle class, when in reality middle class is non-existent at this point. You're either poor or, you know, minimum, as you know we're saying right now, or you're wealthy, and the middle class is completely being wiped out. And
I think that like a livable wage in reality wouldn't have to be like, you want to be able to have like 3 months pay saved up in the bank, you know, it's not working paycheck to paycheck, to be able to actually save money and get assets, but not like, you know, be rich, but just like, hey, I can live comfortably. I don't have to worry about bills because that stress is so bad on you. It's like the living wages is nuts. There's a lot of time you're like, fuck, I'm broke for 4 days until I get my next paycheck. You know what I mean? Like, that's not really a livable
That's
wage.
Poverty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and we all know it very well for the most part, except for the extremely privileged kids, obviously, and people in general. But yeah, I mean, you're onto something, because what really devastates people is those emergencies. Let's just say you have a $20,000 emergency and you're living paycheck to paycheck. You're fucked.
You're totally fucked.
You're fucked. Like a medical emergency or whatever. You know what I mean? You're being sued for something.
Or even like your fucking car breaking down when you're living paycheck to paycheck is devastating.
We've been there, yeah. It's like, holy shit, I don't get paid till this, and then I still can only put like a third down on, you know, this $3,000 fix, or, you know, that's
and then I'm gonna be eating ramen for 2 weeks.
It's stressful, man. And yeah, just to give you like some statistics, like 76% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. When you think about that, that's a fucking huge portion of everybody.
That's sad.
Has that ideology that they're stuck in that minimum thinking and minimum wage.
It's also sad that we live in a society that is, you know, like the propaganda is like, oh, we live in one of the most prosperous places ever, but like we don't pay our citizens enough to live prosperously. Yet we perpetuate this idea that this is like the best place to live ever. And it's like, is it really though? Because I don't really feel like it is. It's not really well regulated. Like, you can be successful, but it's like the system is kind of gamed against you if you're in poverty, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But you're onto something though. I think that's what they're getting at, maybe, is although the majority of everybody lives paycheck to paycheck, we do have the ability, which I really like about America, which, you know, almost anybody can make something for themselves. And you could really make more than minimum wage with a lot of effort. It's just a lot of us aren't taught that, and I know this because I wasn't taught it, you know. And I went to school with a lot of people, different people, and they're all taught the same thing. So I mean, just in general, and using statistics, we're all taught how to live a minimum wage life. I mean, really, they like to say that they're, these skills are going to be used to make more money and whatever, but we don't really, no one's taught to start a business, to start any entrepreneurship, any values other than falling in line with the system.
Right.
I mean,
I'm barely even taught that.
exactly.
You just like go to school and they're like, all right, so you just got to pass these tests, and then afterwards you get a job, and that's like, they don't even tell you how to get a job,
how to break free from that job, how to get out of the rat race, as Robert Kiyosaki likes to call it. Like, there's no hope.
Yeah, and they tell all the kids to go to college, which is a stupid idea. If you're not like a book smart person, going to college is probably not going to be good for you.
It's not for everybody, that's for sure.
Yeah, you might like learn a skill, go to a trade school, or just like start your own thing like you're kind of doing. You didn't go to school or a trade school for what you're doing. So there's many different ways to get success than going to college.
And I'm not done. I'm going to be starting more things, and that this is a thought process that's been changed with mentorship in my my early 30s. So it's like, had I been taught that in my younger years, I probably would be much more successful. It's also dependent on who you're surrounded by. A lot of our family members, are average, normal, and bare minimum, and living minimum wage. So it's kind of conditioned our brain. I'll just use me as an example. It conditioned my brain to think that, working at a job for 30 years that was my version of successful. And I learned that from, watching my mom and my stepdads. And no disrespect, I'm not talking shit to them. That's the reality. And I watched, both of them probably, and I've had some conversations with people, who have worked a long time, and more times than not, they're not happy with where they ended up and what they could have done. And they live with a little bit of regret, because a lot of us, and that kind of ties in with what Candace Owen was saying, as far as the human spirit wants to triumph and put and not talking about putting an end to something, but triumph, that part of it. We want to be a part of something big. We want to make a difference, so I think a lot of us probably live with regret. I live with, I'm regretful with how I spent my first 30 years. And it has, not anything to do with, I can definitely sit here and take accountability for that, but ultimately it was the wrong type of guidance and the people I was surrounded by. Mm-hmm. So now I have taken control. Now I have taken full accountability, and now look at the steps I've made to actually get out of that rat race a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. There's like a ton of comments. So let me just
nice. Yeah, catch up, man.
My grandpa said most people with degrees get the higher paying jobs, but the degrees do not mean they're doing something that fulfills them. I think what he's saying is that if you have a degree, you're more likely to get hired in a higher paying job, even if it's not in the field of your degree, than someone that doesn't have a degree. So if you're both applying to the same place, and like you have your AA degree and the other person just has their high school diploma, it's like an $18 an hour job. You're probably more likely to get hired than the person that just has their diploma on average. So you can still make more money, maybe not $1 million more, but you know what I'm saying? That's just the average for degrees.
Well, definitely not an $18 an hour job. You're not making definitely
not. And then Roland said, I think online college, as people are working, is worth it.
Yeah, that's a great idea, because you're working to get out of that. You're not just dependent on that. You know what I mean? You got multiple things going on. That's a great idea.
And then Phil and my grandpa were talking about whether or not Phil got his high-paying job because of his degree. And then Phil was saying it's from his experience. And then my grandpa was arguing that maybe he got the job over someone that didn't have a degree. You know what I mean? So that one's kind of hard to know.
Yeah. Unless you flat out ask your employer. Right. Which you can. Then they shouldn't. There's no reason to not be honest with that.
Yeah, and then my grandpa's saying you need $25 or so for a family. It's $25 an hour, I'm guessing, is what he's saying. $25 an hour is pretty all right. That's about $50K a year. That's not.
It's not.
you're not in poverty anymore, but you're definitely not middle class still not middle class.
You're not. $50,000 is shit. $50,000 is what I was making when I walked away from my 10-year job.
Oh yeah, I guess
and
you
let
were.
me tell you, I was struggling with that.
Yeah.
So I can speak from experience. What it is the price conditioning. So
Right.
you've made so little for so long. When you actually get up to that pay, you know, I started out like working carpentry, $12 an hour. By the end of it, you know, I was like 25 an hour, and then when I quit, they would call me back to hire me back and do jobs for them for $30 an hour. Still not enough. Still not enough. Just for the things that I wanted to be able to do in life, and like it's just not enough. Flat out isn't. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah, and then Phil was saying, "Shit, that's barely enough." And then Grant was saying, "Hourly 25 is livable." And then Phil said, "Not here." Phil lives in Seattle, so also know someone else that lived in Seattle. They made $30 an hour, and they lived in a place that cost $13 a month, and it was like a little studio shack, basically. So.
You say $13 a month? $1,300?
No, it was $1,300 a month. Yeah, which is fucking super cheap. But it was basically like the size of my room and the bathroom. It's like basically like the size of this upstairs right here. Is the whole size of the place. It included a bed. It was like a studio bedroom / kitchen with a bathroom attached to it, basically.
All of it's in the same room, yeah.
Yeah, besides the bathroom was like it's a separate room. But you know what I'm saying?
God, that's such a fucking ripoff.
And they made $30 an hour, and they were like, that's all they could afford in Seattle, right? Roland makes like $20 an hour, and he just doesn't have a degree just from cooking at the casino. So yeah, if you have a degree and you're not making more than $20 an hour, you might have picked the wrong degree, or you didn't search good enough for a good paying job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Roland said, talking to my friend on the East Coast, what you guys are talking about is 1,000 times worse over there. I think 1,000 times worse is a huge exaggeration, but get what you're saying. It's worse over there.
As far as pay goes,
I think, yeah, the pay and the degree stuff and shit. There's a lot of people on the East Coast, and it's really expensive over there. So
yeah, it's like a bunch of Seattles over there.
Yeah. Then my grandpa said, "We will never get ahead working for someone else." I'm sure you love this one. Living paycheck to paycheck.
That's not actually true. In context, you know, you can, if you're making $250,000 a year for somebody, I would say you can get ahead with that.
Yeah, you can. It's a lot. It's pretty hard though. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is, staying in that position is not going to get you ahead. If I was using that example, like say I was making $250,000 working for somebody, I would have a huge game plan to maybe work for that person and allocate funds and invest in something else of my own, to keep it simultaneously bringing in income as I'm working, and or to eventually exit out of that so that I can make more money on my own. It's a way. It's basically, it's like what I'm talking about, using business debt almost. Now you're using your pay to propel your own income at that point. But yeah, working for somebody can be, I mean, it's not ideal, because now you're working on building someone else's dream, you know? You should ultimately, it's not fulfilling. And so what you should be doing is working on something that's going to fulfill you and something you're going to be creating, and goes right back into what we were talking about with, you know, the human spirit wants to triumph, wants to be a part of something big, wants to create something. So you don't get that feeling when you work for somebody. You can get a little bit of fulfillment, but ultimately, I think you're going to want to probably do your own thing, so that you can say you did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my grandpa said, entrepreneurs are the way to go. We are taught, and he said, we are taught how to go to school and become someone's employee. It's kind of true.
Say that again? Entrepreneurs are taught to be...
No, he said entrepreneurs are the way to go. Like, that's the way to do it. That's what he's saying. And then he said, a different statement. We are taught how to go to school and become someone's employee, like someone else's employee.
Yeah, exactly. That's what school does. And yeah. Well, plus not just school. We're taught that by our parents and family. We see it. So
Yeah. And then Phil asked, does Ben work weekends or just Monday through Friday? And I'll say, before Ben even answers, Ben is working all day, every day. Ben's never not working.
Yeah, it's kind of sick. And again, I wish I can just kick back a little bit more. And sometimes I do got to carve out days, just like this next Saturday. Here's an example. Next Saturday is when I'm going to be celebrating Malia's birthday. Her birthday's actually Wednesday, but Saturday we're going to be doing something. I have so much going on that I have to, the only time I have to do this, I got a couple of repairs that are lingering out there and I have to go do it because the guys are just way too busy on these other jobs getting going. And so what I have to do that morning is take Malia with me to a job site and go do this repair. It might take a couple hours before we actually go and enjoy our day at this Puyallup kind of dinosaur theme setup that they got going on. And so I have to work on the day that we're celebrating her birthday. And so it's just how it goes. I wish I could just carve out that whole day, just spend it with her. But that's just how it goes. And I don't, there was a time where I used to feel very guilty about that stuff, which I do a little bit. But I also know that, I just have to kind of grind through this right now and work my face off. For X amount of years before I can actually earn the right to truly kick my feet up and drink a beer and relax a little bit more. So yeah, I just said it. I work my fucking face off a lot, and it sucks sometimes. This whole week I was running on 5 hours of sleep every day. We were just talking about this, staying up late, getting up early, just working my face in a computer a lot, and I'm on the job site. I mean, I don't enjoy being on the job site anymore. I've done enough, 14 years of working my ass off. I'm kind of done, but it's that busy. And when you own your own business and that happens, you got to step up to the plate. When 3 people call in sick in the same week, shit gets real.
Yeah, 3 people calling sick now?
Well, I had 1 call in sick last week, Thursday and Friday. This week I had 2 guys calling sick. Yeah. It's all at once.
Okay. And then Phil said he was talking about your jobs. I think he's talking about like your employees. I think they mostly work Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday, right?
What's that? My previous jobs?
I think he's talking about like your actual projects, like your things like your job sites. Yeah,
it will be Monday through Saturday.
Oh, like
today, I had a guy on the job site building a patio cover today.
Okay. And then I think they're both inquiring. Phil and Roland are inquiring. Phil said, tell him if he needs help, he can reach out. And then Roland said, are you hiring, Ben, and how much? Lol.
Yes, I am hiring. I just interviewed a guy today. And so I usually base the pay off of what you're getting paid at your job right now. And then, like, for instance, there's a kid that was I interviewed today. And he thought he was applying for just a regular position. He actually applied for my lead position. And then after he looked at it, he was like, yeah, just to be honest, I don't have much experience building at all. He's like, I want to, though, and I want to get into this. And, he's like, what do you offer pay? I said, what do you get paid right now? And he told me, I was like, well, I'll pay you $2 more an hour for that. After 6 months comes by, we'll have this conversation again and talk about giving you a bump right then, or within the next 3 months or something like that. So I really do try to just bump up the pay really quick.
Try to help people out, and also not. Yeah, that's a good idea, because fucking a lot of companies spend way too long before they give people raises. Man, it's ridiculous.
Exactly. I treat people the opposite of the way I was treated with my company. That company I worked for 10 years treated me like shit. I asked for a raise. I can think of one time I asked for a raise and they put me off for almost 6 years. That's crazy, right? That's my own fault, though. I'm not being a victim in this. I'm saying they could have treated me better, but ultimately I put myself in that position. I didn't, although I did bug them a few times in those years, ultimately I worked those 6 years and didn't put my foot down. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of just not having a backbone as well, and playing that victim role, not taking accountability, because I could have just walked away. Because prior to that, I left the company which I'm ashamed of. That's not how you should handle it. I quit, and then they, called me back, and they gave me a huge raise, and what I thought was a huge raise. And so they kept me around for a little bit, and then I asked for a raise again. They ignored me. So this time, when I walked away, it was that's when I left, actually. And so when I went back to finalize me leaving, or I can't remember why I was at his house, but I was telling him, I don't know why I went there. But when I went there, he had a bunch of nice papers there at the dinner table. He's ready to have an interview with me again, and basically was begging for me to stay. And he was like, there's no, how much you need to stay with it? And I was like, I said, I was already making $50K a year. And he's like, there's nothing I can say or do to keep you with us? And I was like, no, there's not. So, and that was scary. I'll admit that was fucking scary. But I did it. And so,
It's strange. It's like kind of sad because you spend so much time there, and then the dude's like, fuck, I gotta keep this dude. And you're like, man, I'm sick of being treated like shit by you for this long. And whatever you say right now is not going to make up. Like, you're not going to just magically start treating me better.
Exactly.
Even if you give me this raise, so.
Exactly. They're very clearly shown me where I was in the company, and I knew very well that I was the main asset of that company.
Right.
Like, I mean, I would knock out a job a day, and I'm just a check bringing machine. Finish a job and bring in checks. Like, very productive. I guess that's the Mexican side of me, because I'm a fucking workhorse, man, on the job site.
Yeah, you said it, so I didn't say it. Also, you guys, if you guys are actually serious, because they're both talking about lead experience and stuff, if you guys are actually serious, just message Ben or something on Facebook, because if you're
if you're serious, I'm in Olympia though, so and we drive around all over. We go to Kent, Tacoma. I don't go like deep, like Ocean Shores, 2 hours away type shit, but sometimes we'll have a job that's
it's mostly South Puget Sound, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a couple jobs like up there. It just depends. I'll take on the jobs that make sense, like the one up in Renton. The guy was on today was in Renton. I usually don't go up to Renton, but
right.
It kind of just made sense to do it. But if you're serious, just message me, and if you're looking to change industries or whatever, it's not an easy job. So
yeah, it is hard work.
It is hard work, but it's good for.
It's not the hardest work, but it definitely is hard work. It's physical labor outside in the elements. So if you join now, it's going to be November and shit. So
yeah, I don't think you can say if it's hard or not until you actually work like a full year, at least 6 months.
I guess that's true.
You gotta experience all of it.
Yeah, I just mean like I've fucking like dug holes and shit for like 8 hours a day, and that shit's pretty hardcore.
Yeah. And that's actually pretty easy, because you're not having to use your brain during that much. You're just digging a hole. I think I'd rather with reading CAD drawings and making sure shit's built to the 16th of an inch while you're doing physical labor. It really gets exhausting sometimes.
Yeah, I think I'd rather use more of my brain than just digging because that just like kills my joints. I just like. Yeah. I mean, maybe you get used. I'm sure you would get used to it after a while, but my body's like fuck every time I do something like that.
Yeah, doing both requires experience. Like, it took me a while because I was a grunt forever, and then the pressure slowly got onto me, and then I had to figure out how to slow down the working to actually reading stuff and doing stuff properly, and then basically putting my focus on both of them when it needed it. So that's the hard part about it, but it is a great experience and a great it's a huge sense of fulfillment and a ton of value that you walk away with for sure.
I did work with you in December last year, so I guess it was very mild December though. It was like just a little bit of rain. It wasn't that cold, so it
wasn't snowing. No. Yeah, the prior year to that, the year before that, I vividly remember. Here's another example of how I have to step up to the plate. It was just me, and I only had one employee. He was a real young buck. He was working for me for about 4 months. He did a real good job too. He was good help. And he built a couple sunrooms with me, like good size ones too. He did a lot of decks and covers with me. and he quit on me right when I started another sunroom. And this was, it was a smaller job, but there was a lot involved. So really it was a bigger job because I had to build a deck before I built the sunroom on it. And I had to like punch through a wall and basically create this whole walkway into the existing house. So I did that whole job almost by myself through the 1 foot of snow that we had that one year, which was a couple years back.
Yeah.
It sucked. It truly sucked. But yeah, it just takes a certain type of focus where you're just like, okay, this is what it is. You got to do it. Like, you know, let's put the hot hands in the gloves. Let's fucking let's get rolling with this because you're not getting paid till it's done.
Yeah. I think if you have enough gear on, like when I went with you, like we had the hot hands things, right? Layers, and then once you just get moving, you're kind of fine.
Yeah.
You just gotta get your body moving, otherwise you're gonna start freezing your ass off.
You can't think about it is what it is. When you have too much time to sit there and think about the elements and like the suck of it, that shit will start getting in your head, and your head will start, you know, your head wants to retreat and go into a comfort zone and get some, you know, milk and cookies and warm up by the fire and all that shit. So you just gotta kind of get off that shit.
I'm sure your job's pretty nice though, or like we don't really do it as much anymore now. I mean, you still do it, but doing the manual stuff is probably pretty nice in like late spring and stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The more experienced you are too, the lot stressful it is, as opposed to not knowing what to. The stress comes from not knowing what to do, and when you know what to do next, that takes a lot of it out, and then you just know it's just what you're up against, and it's like, okay, this is what it is. It's going to be tough, but at least I know what to do. That takes a lot of the stress out of it. But so yeah, we diverted quite a bit on the work, which is cool. Yeah. But
that's all right.
But that's kind of, that is all right, because there's still a lot of value in that too. But what she was saying was, you know, to bring it back to what she was talking about was, you know, the millennials don't have much to fight for these days because of the privilege and entitlement, and that's what we were talking about, people creating things that aren't there. Victims, people walking around with, you know, they're just a victim waiting to happen, basically. So she also started saying, she started talking about politics a little bit. There's a few things going on here. She started talking a little bit about the left, which she really bags on quite a bit, as far as what their agenda is. And she specifically talked about like how they always attack families, and there's an attack on the family. And she brought up like feminism, attacking masculinity, apparently when they started like the Me Too movement, which is kind of a bold statement, but she was saying that was an attack on men. She was saying that like picking children, being able to pick their genders in school is an attack on the family as well.
Weird. I don't.
Yeah, and so I did want to get people's opinion because we didn't even talk about children being able to pick their genders when we were talking about the transgender thing.
I think
I'll ask you what you think about it. Well, I'll just tell you what I think about it. I think it's a bad idea, but I'm not quite sure exactly why. So I think it's too much liberty for children. Children need a lot of guidance, and ultimately, I think there's a what do I want to say? The labeling. There's like a stigma about labeling and identification being bad, and I never understood that. I understand that if it's false identifying, you know, like if you're, you know, saying like, hey, you're a woman, but in fact you feel like a man or whatever. I don't know when that's established in life, as far as a person establishing that in their own life. You know, like, hey, I just realized, you know, I'm actually not a woman, I'm a man now, so can you please not? Like, I respect that. But as far as like children having that much liberty to choose their gender, it just seems wrong to me. And I don't exactly, I'm not sure what, and if it's not wrong, I want to see I'm curious to know what the good in that is.
I personally don't feel like there's anything wrong with it. I just don't think we should be doing any surgeries for children. I think we should wait until they're
Yeah.
more mentally developed, and then they can make that choice as an adult for themselves. You know,
Yeah. That's a gift. Absolutely.
So
we can go furthermore and say that circumcisions are fucking absolutely fucking disgusting too, in my opinion.
Right.
That's just completely fucked up.
But that one's different because the circumcision is forced upon the baby without their consent, right? Whereas like
that's what you're talking about, is what I'm saying.
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about
what you're saying.
If the kid's like, I'm a girl now, I don't think we should be like chopping off any penises until you're like old enough to make that decision. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to become an adult and regret that decision, right?
Yeah.
That's my fear. That's my fear personally. I don't know if that's misguided fear for these people. But I don't know if they're mentally developed enough to make that decision yet. You know what I mean? Like physically. I think with the label thing, I don't think it's gonna hurt anyone. So I don't think.
Yeah, it's not gonna hurt anything. I guess I'm more. I guess I only think it's wrong because it's not what I consider normal, which is whatever. So I'm not saying I'm right about it. I could be wrong about that. But more importantly, like, what good is that going to do? I guess that's what I don't understand yet.
Yeah, I do. So most of the transgender people I know say that they felt that way for like their whole lives. So I think maybe it just helped them feel less or more comfortable with themselves and less like they're like, you know what I mean? Like if they feel like say they feel like a man, but everyone treats them like a woman, that gives them like a weird identity thing going on their whole life, right? Whereas if people just accepted them for what they wanted to be and it doesn't hurt anyone, then that'll probably just help them, right? Mentally, maybe.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought process on it.
Yeah, I think in that regard, then it's not wrong, I guess. That does make sense. But then it gets into the identification process. In my mind, labels are actually useful. That's why, I'll use a different example, but like, you don't walk into a store just looking at like boxes of stuff without a label on it. You would be really confused. It's just a sense of direction. And I understand labels can be incorrect too, but I think a label is a good starting point rather than just being aimless, especially for medical reasons.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so like, I don't know how much research they've done into this transgender, like psychology wise and, physiology, like looking at their genes and shit like that. So I don't, obviously we're not scientists, so who knows? But I think that if it doesn't cause any harm to anyone, then there's obviously no harm in doing that. And we should just allow them to, but we should definitely do research into it to make sure that, it's good for everyone. Mostly the kid. Like if the fucking parents are like, like who cares? Fuck them,
Yeah.
As parents, if we gotta focus on what's best for the children, right? So.
Yeah, and I guess we don't know if.
That's what I say. That's what we got. That's why we got to do the research.
We don't even know if letting them choose their gender is good for them either. We might in fact find out that that's the bad thing, the worst thing to do. We don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
And that's what I guess I want to get at. When I said it, I think it's wrong. That's not me like saying, I think it's wrong, I'm set in my ways. Because there's going to be some people that might hear that and get really confused and be like, fuck Ben. Like, those are victims waiting to happen. What I'm saying is the reason I think it seems wrong to me is because that's what I've grown up to be normal. And I'm not saying that, because obviously you can hear me talking about the other side, and as far as letting children pick their genders, I'm open-minded to it. So I just don't know what the answer is. But initially it seems wrong because that's what I've been conditioned to. And I'm having a hard time seeing what the good is. And I don't know. I guess it's just what seems off to me is just giving children too much liberty in general. Because I don't know. Children need guidance. And I don't know. Maybe that's the wrong guidance, is saying that, labeling them a gender could be the wrong guidance. I don't know.
Yeah. I think what we should be teaching, because I think not all of transgenderism, but I think some of it comes from gender norms being not aligning with what people feel, right? So like if you're a man, if you're a boy, you gotta play with fucking action figures and you gotta play baseball and fucking, you know, do all these boy things and you can't play with dolls and blah 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 and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times people enjoy things that aren't associated with their gender,
Yeah.
right? And then they feel like, oh, I must be that other gender instead of just being like, oh, I'm just a boy that likes dolls, or I'm a girl that likes fucking playing with action figures, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I don't know if that is because I'm not a psychologist, but I would venture to say that at least some of it has to be that, right?
Absolutely. I can agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, I can totally see that being a common theme and people being very confused by it. So in that regard, I can see labels doing a disservice in that regard.
Yeah, I know one transgender man, so female to male that I know, was saying that he, misgendering already, that so previously female, male now, so he always felt more like his brothers than his sisters when he was hanging out with them and stuff. And I think that was more along the lines of just associating the things that you like doing are more masculine things, right?
Yeah. And we got plenty of, females that have a little more testosterone than others, and we got males that have a little more estrogen than others too. That's just a biological fluctuation that's just part of this world and part of our species, and every species for that matter, Oh, and by the way, this is a side note too. That's also why I don't trust animals and dogs completely when I see them, because just like humans, where we got some screws loose, we got some chemical imbalance, we got autism, we got Down syndrome, we got all these things, so on and so forth. You can have these symptoms in an animal too. And so and the problem with that is we can't communicate with them, so we have no idea. And so, yeah, I always had, this is a completely different topic, but I just thought I'd throw that in there because it was definitely something I've had this conversation with other people. Like, I don't trust people's dogs immediately because for all I know, your dog could have mental problems. But yeah, the children being able to pick their gender is it's one of those topics people stay away from because a lot of people probably think the way I do about it as far as like voicing their opinion, like this is what I think, but not because they're afraid to say that because they're afraid of what people's reactions are gonna be, and how it's gonna be taken. But I actually elaborated on that because it can easily be mistaken for me just being set in my ways, I guess, and not being open-minded.
Right.
But that's not the case.
Yeah, I definitely just think that more research needs to be done into it because it's hard to make a decision when you don't really know the consequences of either decision, right? We don't know which decision is going to have a positive outcome at all. So it's really hard to know.
Yeah.
If we should let the kids do that, because who knows if it's good or if it's bad for them at this point.
Yeah.
But I would say if it's not bad for them, then yeah, let them do it, whatever. But we don't fully know that yet.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a slippery slope, man, of a conversation. But yeah, that was part of what she was saying. And then she furthermore was talking about how basically how there's always these attacks on men, and like two boys playing together, too rough or whatever is masculinity, too much masculinity, just weird things like that. And then I think I said the statement last time but I actually wrote it down verbatim because she was just saying, she did say that there has never been in the history of this world been a society that has survived without strong men. And I was trying to think about that. I was like, I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
So somehow she's under the impression that men are being attacked quite a bit, and she validates it with a lot of these statements.
There is like the third wave of feminism where they're like fuck men, which is really funny because it's like the opposite of what feminism is supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be equality, but
Yeah.
when you're putting men below you, it's not equality anymore. So it's kind of weird. But that's not all feminists. That's just a certain extremist feminist.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I feel like the more you get towards, I think it's you know what's funny is both. I fucking hate politics for this reason, because if you talk to the right about the left, they'll talk about people on the far left. They won't talk about people in the middle of the left, right?
Yeah.
When they're making their examples, they're talking about all the extremists, and the same exact thing for Democrats, right? They're talking about the right. They'll be talking about the crazy ass Republicans, not like your average one. You're like your nice average Republican that like goes to church and minds their own fucking business and like does whatever. They're talking about the fucking extremists. They're
It's
like
the extremes, yeah. Well, I mean, that's what's interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to talk about the boring middle. That's probably half the reason for it. You know what I mean?
It's like probably the majority of people are in the middle, and then you focused on all the extreme parts.
Yeah. Shit. And that's all we see on TV. It seems like, the media captures the extremists more often.
The drama and the sensationalism.
Well, that's what gets all the attention.
All the views.
It's captivating. It is more captivating. That's just a fact. So that's probably why they focus on that. But yeah, you're right. It's not really a clear description of the majority of either side. But yeah, so I will say this will kind of segue me. Let's go ahead and roll off of that and segue into the review here. I wish you had time to see it. I watched a video about there's a rapper I follow. His name is Dan the Locksmith, and really
Dan the Locksmith.
Yeah, really good rapper. Very. He's got a lot of he uses a lot of big words, a lot of big words and wordplay in his raps, and it just flows really well. And it not just flows, but it has a lot of meaning in almost every damn statement he makes. And so it's real captivating, you know what I mean? It gets your attention as you're listening to it. But he did a parody rap of the debate with Trump and Biden. I'm drawing a blank.
Right.
And he was dressed up as both of them too. So showed him with Biden's hairdo and all that, and he was rapping and doing all these relative statements about how he's basically attacking Trump. And then it showed him, and it's crazy, man. He's just dropping true facts and rhyming with this and flowing with this. Is so creative. And then he did it with Trump too, and he had the toupee on and all that, and even kind of was talking like Trump as he was rapping a little bit. It was pretty funny, dude.
I was saying, was the whole thing pretty funny?
It was funny, and it was also profound. When you hear it, it's oh shit. It's dropping facts, and it's funny. So it's oh shit. It's hard to explain without actually watching it. I'll have to show you when we're done with the podcast. But yeah, super creative and entertaining as hell. And
how long is it?
I don't remember. Just it's not very long. A minute, 2 minutes maybe.
Oh, okay, I see. It's just a little.
Yeah.
It's a bad lip reading kind of thing, or no, it's not bad lip reading because he's reenacting it, right? So. Yeah,
well, he's not really reenacting it. He's made his own rap.
Mm-hmm.
But talking about relatively the same stuff that they were actually debating about,
right?
And making points on both sides. But it's really hard to explain. Just the fact it'll make more sense when you watch it. It's oh shit, it's really fucking creative how he did that.
Okay.
Because when you see it, when I first watched it was just the Biden one I seen. I was oh okay, he's actually he actually likes Biden, huh? And then I seen the other part of it where he was Trump, and he was also doing a really good job on that one. I was oh, doesn't sound like he's political at all, because he's kind of making fun of both of them now. I was this is hilarious, and it's creative. It's very entertaining. But yeah, if you haven't heard of him, Dan the Locksmith, he's got a lot. The first time I heard that guy was on what is that guy's name? The guy that always brings rappers on his show to rap, Swayze or
right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Is it Sway or?
Yeah, it's Sway.
Is it Sway?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he was on Sway, and he did like a fucking 3-minute long, maybe longer freestyle that really just blew my face off. I was like, holy shit, dude. It was all relative stuff too. That's what I like about it's like the Saturday Night Live of rap, you know what I mean? It's like the South Park of rap. It's like relative, up-to-date stuff that's flowing really, really well. And so using good grammar and all that.
That's like the best. I feel like you can find more of reality in like the satire of political events, like on Saturday Night Live and shit like that. South Park. It's almost closer to the truth than what you're seeing on the news, just because the news is like blowing everything out of proportion so much, and then those people that are creating those things are kind of just making fun of them for being ridiculous.
Yeah, and there's some truth to that too. Like you said, it's almost there's more truth in the parodies than the actual events that are taking place.
Mm.
That's hilarious. But yeah, so that's a short review. Like I said, I was the only one that watched it, so I had to come up with something there. It was either him or Harry Mack. Harry Mack we can review next. You've already heard him a couple times.
Have I?
Yeah, he's also the other guy that freestyles, but he goes on the street and
the dude that was like up with that line of people and was doing freestyle.
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
that's all he does, dude. He does. His Instagram is that too, and so he'll split screen stream just like this and have them bring up, you know, a few topics. They'll have the words up there on the screen right there, and he'll do freestyles based on those words. It works really well. It's just, it always impresses me the quickness of the mind like that. There's some kind of technique that they're using in order to do that. So it just kind of blows my mind. I'm like, how the fuck are they doing that on the spot, being able to flow, use big words like that off the top of their head?
I think it's kind of like a muscle, you know, your brain's kind of like a muscle. I think the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. There's some techniques that we don't understand too, you know what I mean? But yeah, we'll review him next because and we'll watch some videos by him because I'm impressed by that type of stuff. Just the creativity of it.
I'm down.
So what's up?
Oh, nothing. I was going to ask you what the next thing you had written down there was. We have the rant, and then we have what else?
The viral viewpoint. Let's see what we got here. Oh, okay. So we're running out of time, but I guess we started late, so that's okay.
Yeah.
So this one I've been putting off a little bit. I think, or maybe I did brush on it, but we're gonna actually make a topic out of this. So this is disrespect towards businesses. I think you've heard me talk about this too because I brought it up a couple times, but never actually used it as a topic. But I'd like to know like what the consumer's viewpoint is, and I can give you my viewpoint because I'm a business owner, and I've also been a consumer. I am a consumer, so I also have both viewpoints right now as well. But
what do you mean by disrespect?
It comes in many forms. God, where do I start? Like, the disrespect where people like expect businesses to kind of jump, expect businesses not to make mistakes, or they expect businesses to if they do make mistakes, it's like a fucking huge big deal. And so one aspect of that is I can think of is the fact that people just want you to run around in my industry. First of all, this whole get your 3 quotes bullshit. I just talking to Heather about this the other day. It's fucking ridiculous. The 3 quotes thing started in the insurance company, and somehow everybody decided to use the 3 quotes for every fucking
Is that a model?
industry.
People say get 3 quotes.
Yes.
Oh,
Get your 3 quotes. Get your 3 quotes. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, and it's annoying to me because I don't operate that way. And it's like it gives the buyer a sense of power. Like, okay, I'm gonna get 3 quotes, and then I get to pick and choose who I'm going to do business with, when in fact, like, I've been taught to pre-qualify the people I'm going to do business with. So I'm not just going to do business with anybody. So I'll just tell you flat out, if I'm amongst 3 competitors and you're going to put me up at competition, I don't even want to give you a quote because we're the higher price. I'll tell you that right now. And so I still get roped into that shit sometimes where, you know, and it's funny, it comes in many forms. Like, I'll show up to a job, and this is just people putting up their guard. That comes in a lot of forms too, but they'll immediately say, yeah, just so you know, I had a guy say this the other day, show up to his house, and you know, I already told him price over the phone and all this stuff, and so I usually kind of make sure that it's usually a almost certain deal, but I realize it's not certain. I'm almost going to have to do something else now to make sure that I'm not wasting my time. But they'll act as if they want to move forward, and I'll show up and they're just like, yeah, I got another guy coming here in a couple days to give me a quote too, and another guy next Friday also to do a quote. And it's like, immediately they're saying that because they're letting you know they're not going to buy right now. That's what they're saying. They're trying to put up a guard right there. And so that's super annoying to me because I'm like, I wish you would have told me. I wouldn't even be here. I'm wasting my time. Like, we're the higher price. Do you want to go with an experienced quality company, or are you looking for something quick and cheap? Because if you are, we're just not that company. We're not. I mean, I can refer you to a quick and cheap company even, but we're just not that company.
Yeah.
So there's a form of disrespect right there. Just, I don't know, not leveling with business owners. And then people get irritated when people like to click on a button and have somebody automatically call them or show up to their house. You know what I mean? It's like they think there's this magical thing that happens in the background, to where people just get instant messages and just show up.
Right.
Like, and so what I have to explain to people is like, when I call them and talk to them and I'm like asking them questions like, you know, how much money do you have allocated for this project? How long have you been thinking about doing this? How quickly you want to move forward with it? You know, they're like, can I just have somebody come out? Like I'm asking them like, you know, any idea what the dimensions of this job is going to be? You know, I mean, you can guess too, you know, length and width, and that's fine. We're just kind of getting a starting point here so you can get a little price conditioned on this. And I've had people just flat out get irritated. They're just like, I don't know how can you just figure this out? Come here. Can I just have somebody show up and we can go over this here? And I'm like, yeah, well, you know, I got to explain to them, you know, I wasted a lot of time in the past to where, I got to make sure I'm actually, that you're ready to move forward with this and I'm not wasting my time. You know, we value our time. I don't want to waste your time. And so there's one form of what I'm talking about. It's just this whole sense that everything's bow down to the customer. Customer's always right type stuff. You know what I mean?
You know, it's funny you say that because Roland just said, quote unquote, customer's always right is a bullshit lie.
Absolutely. It's complete fucking garbage. And I don't buy into that, and I'll tell people straight up. Like, I've pissed off a couple people with this, you know what I mean? I've said some things, you know, that I might have not have. I can think of this one guy I was talking to, and he's like, what did I say? Oh, we didn't get back to him quick enough. You know, we had a list of people, and we just haven't called him back quick enough. And he's like, I tried calling you guys. No one's called me yet. And I was like, oh, yeah, sorry, we're just real backed up, we just haven't got to you yet. You know, we're working our way through the list here. So we didn't forget about you. We just haven't got to you yet. And he's like, well, if you guys are that busy, should I just go look for a different company? I was like, I mean, sure, you're more than welcome to do that because I'm not begging for your business. And I couldn't believe I said that, but I did say that. And because that was immediately what I thought. And I was like, we're not desperate here. I'm not begging for your business, but we'll get to you, the same amount of lead time as the other people. I'm just letting you know we got a lot of calls to work through before you. But then he called me back the next day. I think he hung up on me. And he called me back the next day. This other guy I was on the phone with had this is a Facebook thing where you can click on it and get an automatic phone call appointment set up. And I guess my sales rep didn't get the email that I sent him, so he didn't get called. Well, the guy called me and was like, hey, I had an appointment set up, 4 hours ago, and nobody called me. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't know what happened, my apologies. He's like, yeah, no problem, I know you guys are real busy. He's like, hey, you got like 10 minutes though to talk to me about it. And right, already it just sounds bad. He's like, you got like 10 minutes to talk to me about this. He's like, so, and I was like, okay, well, let's talk about your dimensions a little bit. You know what I mean? Any idea what the length and the width is? And the way he explained it to me, he said, I got a deck that's 18 feet long, and it's whatever, X amount of feet out. I can't remember now. But he said it was 18 feet, and he was like, I want to cover a third of that. Not the whole deck, but I just want to cover a third of that. And so I was like, I think he said 18 by 10. And so I was like, okay, so you're talking about a 6 foot by 10 foot? Because, that's a third of 18, the length. And so I was like, oh, okay, so 6 foot by 10 foot. I was like, that's not really a big job, So just so you know, that's a very quick, easy job. And he's like, how do you know how big it is? I haven't even told you the dimensions of it or something. I was like, well, you said it was 18 feet. So you said you want to cover a third of that. That's 6 feet because that's a third of it. Mm-hmm. And he was like, no, I said a third of it is 18 feet. You're not listening to me. And he said it just like that to me. I was like, I'm listening to you. I heard you loud and clear. I just misunderstood you. I was like, we're human. Mistakes like that happen. It's okay. No big problem. We'll get through this. And he was like, you know what? He got upset that I said that. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to, what did he say? I know you guys are a reputable company. I know you guys do good work, but this whole process, I'm not comfortable with this on the phone. If you guys want to set something up with me, call me back. And he hung up on me. I'm like, fuck you, dude. Like, but yeah, he got all upset because he couldn't communicate, his lack of communication skills. He got upset when I just kind of told him, like, mistakes happen. We're human beings. I misheard you. It sounded like you said 18 feet. You didn't say 18 feet was a third of your deck. So yeah, there's another form of it. It's just this whole disrespect of, jump, do a bunch of free shit. People don't understand giving quotes costs money. It costs gas. I took a ferry today to go do an appointment. That was $30, for the trip. It's just a huge level of disrespect. That's just one form of it. Yeah. But I think, go ahead.
I was going to say, I agree with you, what you're saying for companies. I will say though that I have a different viewpoint on corporations.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like fucking Amazon with fucking 30,000 employees.
Yeah.
And they get subsidies from the government, and they have overseas employees, and they're like taking jobs away from Americans. Like, I expect, come on, man, you're getting subsidies from the government. Like, give me my service on time. But like small businesses, of real people, hardworking people. Yeah, we shouldn't be disrespecting them. So I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just want to make that like aside.
I'm the same way.
I know you talk about this all the time about businesses, and I think it's probably kind of important that, at least for me, I think that we should differentiate small business with corporations, because that's a whole fucking different thing in my viewpoint.
It is. Me too, and I agree. And I'm also that type of person who expects a lot more from corporations, you know what I mean? Because they have the cushion. They have plenty of profit, plenty of capital that, if things go wrong, they're fine. You know what I mean? Whereas if things go wrong for a small business, it costs a lot more money. I think I think a lot of average people have a hard time differentiating a corporation from a business. Yeah. They might see, like, for me, I advertise a lot. I probably come off as a big company because my fucking ad is all over the place. And I know this because of the way they talk to me about this. Like, yeah, how many employees you got? They want to know. And that's a dumb question. Like, people just want to know that they're dealing with a big company because they want to sometimes.
Yeah.
Except there are the people that like to support small businesses, which I really like those type of people. But yeah, there's like, oh, how many? That's a dumb question. Like, it's irrelevant how many people are on the job or how many employees we have. That doesn't really dictate the work performance or the execution of the job.
Yeah, I think it's a problem with how America is laid out. Like, the capitalism is fine, but I think the way it's laid out is it's so bad for small businesses. Like, America gets progressively more corporate as time goes on.
Yeah.
There's less and less small businesses. So now the way, I think this is my theory maybe, is that people interact with small businesses the same way they act with corporations. It's because there's just more corporations now than there are small businesses. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
that would be my theory.
Yeah, that's true. But I think for the people that are just not knowledgeable on businesses in general, they assume that everything's kind of like a corporation. They don't even know the difference really. They just have a hard time imagining that it's just maybe one, like for me, just one dude, one employee, basically two sales reps and like 4 or 5 employees.
As I was saying, we got like 4 or 5 dudes.
Yeah, so they have a hard time putting that together, like, oh, you know, maybe it's just a giant corporation. They see a company truck driving around, like, oh, that's just one of 10 company trucks. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, no, that's the only company truck. Except for the one I'm driving. I guess technically that's kind of a company truck now too, because I've been working out of it. So, but it's just a whole facade that a person creates themselves, and then their expectations go up. And they want you to jump through fucking hoops. They want you to spend money just to fucking give them a quote. Completely disrespectful, man. Like your time is just not respected. I mean, I saw there's been, but I always bitch about it. Like the whole first year, I drove around and did quotes for anybody. I spent 2 hours, maybe even longer, on job sites, and then they would never. There's another level of disrespect. They'll never get back to you. I hardly, go through that now because I force that answer out of them now when I'm talking to them. But many, many, many times in that first year or longer, I would go spend 2 or 3 hours at a job site, work up, spend, maybe another hour, an hour driving there and back. Maybe even do some drawings on this thing. So now I'm like 5 hours in on one job, no pay, no nothing. I spent the gas. And they won't even respond to your email. They won't respond to your voicemail. And that is completely fucking disrespectful. Just have the balls and or the ovaries to fucking call them back and just say, hey, just so you know, we're not interested. And nobody likes that either, but it's better than not knowing. You know what I mean? It's just like, you fucking spineless piece of shit.
Yeah. You know what I like? You just said, never even thought about that, but like, we should use ovaries more often, huh? Because they're the equivalent of balls. Like you don't have the ovaries. That's just funny.
I forgot. I can't take credit for that. I heard someone say that years ago.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's good though. It's really good.
It's a good way to.
But what you're saying, that is really disrespectful to any business, but especially a small business where it's like you're like,
absolutely. Nobody knows the things that are behind the scenes of a small business. Like, using me as an example, I'm a single dad who has an 8-year-old daughter. Like, if you knew what my life was like, you probably would give me a little bit more respect, but they have no idea. Like, and wasting my time and my money affects my daughter, really. So it's just a huge level of disrespect that people just don't understand. And they just assume that companies should jump around left and right and fucking bend over backwards and spend money just to beg for business. They want you to beg for business too. It's fucking disrespectful, man.
Yeah, it's like you're not Walmart, so you're not trying to get every fucking sale you can get ever. Yeah,
and so I didn't have enough time to write a lot of examples, but it definitely comes in so many forms. It's like. It's hard to explain.
Phil asked, do you let them know you're a small business?
No. I think that might do me more harm than good. I actually play into the facade that I'm a bigger business than I actually am. I don't lie about anything, but just the fact that the amount of marketing dollars I put in and, just the level. Plus, we take on massive projects, so it might appear as though we're a big business just for the size of jobs we're doing, like a huge sunroom or something like that, or a huge deck with a patio cover and handrail going around and all kinds of shit could easily get it $50,000, maybe even $100,000.
Right.
And so it might appear that we're a giant company because of that. Like, no, just very small company bidding big jobs. But I think that would do me more harm than good because the majority of people want that big business. And that's why I get that question, like, how many employees you got? It's like a posturing thing too. My landlord asked me that one time. And it was like it's totally a posturing thing though. That's the vibe I got. He was like, how many guys you got now? I'm just like, why does that matter? Like,
yeah.
No guys? 50? Like, I don't know. He was like looking for me to impress him, I guess, when he asked that question. I've gotten that question many times.
Shouldn't just be like, hey, are you
doing your job?
Are you finding success? Yeah, like,
yeah, it's something different than that. Yeah, I think that's how people gauge how successful is a business. Yeah, how successful a business is also. You know, if you tell somebody you got 5 employees or if you got 50 employees, which that's true, that is a way to gauge how successful a company is and how much it's grown. But it shouldn't be.
That's corporate America, man. People expect you to turn into a corporation. They expect every business to want to become a corporation, right?
I think people want to do business with the bigger corporations, that's what sucks. That's what's like, That's like, they don't understand that every corporation started out, like Jeff Bezos started out working by himself out of his fucking own office. You know what I mean? A lot of businesses start from nothing. That's just the fact. It has to start from somewhere. At one point, every business was a small business. People just don't see that. And I think we were talking about that. Like, we were using that iceberg reference, that poster, where you only see the peak coming out and people only see the success. They don't know the fucking hard work that's went into that. And yes, Amazon has they're a corporation and they can endure a lot more ridiculous customer service, but there was a point where he couldn't, you know what I mean? Where he was a small business and like a lot of mistakes and things like that were devastating to the company. So
yeah, I don't think we should. I still don't think you should purposefully disrespect a big corporation, but I do think that there are higher expectations for a big corporation to fulfill duties that they've assigned to themselves. So
yeah. I had this one lady telling me, she emailed me a bunch of stuff and she was how did this go? She was asking She was asking me if she was trying to get a price out of me. And I was saying, I need to actually speak with you over the phone so I can get my head wrapped around the project a little bit before I can actually give you an accurate price. She's like, well, just give me a ballpark figure. And this is before I started just giving ballpark. Now I do, just to avoid this shit and give a wide range. That way they have no idea. But I was like, yeah, if you give me your number, we can talk a little bit more, discuss your project plan. She's like, yeah, I'll give you my number after you tell me how much it's going to be. And I was like, I need to speak with you first. And then she just kept doing that. We were just kind of on the hamster wheel for a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to decline service to you and have a nice day. And I just ended it like that. So it was just a waste of time.
Yeah.
And it was disrespectful. I'm like, this is the way I run my business. I'm not fucking supplicating to you. I'm not running it the way you want it to be ran. If you want to run your own fucking business, start it. Like, this is how I run my business. If you want to do business with me, then you're going to have to kind of just trust me. So there's a form of disrespect right there too.
Right on. Not right on. Not that situation, but right on. Right on for the whole topic.
That reminds me of like if I'm like not paying attention sometimes to Malia and she'll tell me some bad news or something. She's like, yeah. So like this is just an example. This didn't happen, but she'll be like, yeah, Emily punched me in the face. I'm like, oh, right on. She's like, not right on, Dad. And I'm like, well, I didn't even hear what you said. What? Same type of shit.
I did hear what you said though about the woman. That's true. But I just meant we should get onto the rant before we.
Okay, so let's talk about the vegan food right now. Let's switch it up.
Hell yeah.
So let's talk about. I've been talking too much. Let's hear about your experience today with the Red Robin.
Oh, it's not even just today. We just had Red Robin like yesterday or the day before as well. We ordered Red Robin, right? So we ordered 2 vegan burgers because Heather's vegan now after watching What the Health with me. And And here's the weird thing: I ordered a vegan burger, and Red Robin, they make the vegan burgers with fucking lettuce wraps instead of fucking buns, which I don't know what vegans they know, but just because we're vegan doesn't mean we don't like bread. We still like bread. We
Their
still
bread might not be vegan though, and they probably haven't got any vegan bread yet.
It is.
Oh, they got okay.
Yeah, the bread, the ciabatta, and the sesame seed. Yeah, so it's just like they're like, oh, vegans like lettuce, so we're just gonna like, no, bro, we want a burger, dude. Anyways, we ordered 2 burgers, and I ordered mine with the ciabatta bun, and hers with the sesame seed bun. And we got our burgers, and I had ciabatta bun on mine, and hers had a fucking lettuce wrap. And it's like, how'd you make one and realize that we asked for a bun, and the other one you fucking forgot to give us a bun and gave us a lettuce wrap. So that just happened like yesterday or the day before, but it was like, oh, maybe that's just a fluke, you know? And then today we ordered the same exact thing, went there, and they put fucking mayonnaise on my fucking burger, and it's like, do you guys not know what vegan means? It's like,
no, they don't.
It's like, don't put mayonnaise on the fucking burger, dude. What the fuck?
That's the worst. What sucks is, so did you check it before you left though?
No, I was already driving because I was like running late to here. So I was
That's the worst.
We're driving here, and they're like, can you grab my burger? And she handed me my burger. And I was like, is that fucking mayonnaise? So I just took the top bun off and just ate the rest of it. Sucked.
That does suck, man. I hate that shit, dude. Especially that's the worst when you're already on the go and you're in a hurry and it's like you don't have time to check somebody's work and make sure they actually paid attention to that shit.
I know. Heather was like, you want to turn around? I'm like, I don't even got time for that. I can't turn around.
Right? When you're hungry and you're in a hurry, it's just like, damn it, it's more annoying. That happened to me when I can think about like one of the first times I can remember it was when I got a pizza. Not the other day, not what was it, yesterday or the day before? Not the day before when I got that pizza, but I went to Brewery City Pizza. And I had this fucking like 10, 15 minute long conversation with the employee there. He's like, he didn't understand what vegan was, and I explained it to him. And I was like, yeah, that just means no dairy, no meat, no cheese, nothing with milk in it. We went over all this, and he was like almost fascinated. He was like, oh, really? That means, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Oh, okay. So we had like a understanding, I thought. And then I got the pizza, and I, like you, was in a hurry on the road somewhere, and I was smelling the pizza. So a part of me, I don't know if I was going to eat a pizza while I was driving, which I rarely do, because especially that's messy as fuck. But I don't know if I had the urge to check it while I was driving or if I just was going to actually eat a piece. Either way, I opened it up and there's cheese all over it. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. I just had this fucking long conversation with this dude about no cheese.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing that I was talking about when you just got the pizza the other day. I think people just go on fucking autopilot.
Yes.
Just don't, like he was probably just like, la da 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 da, grab the cheese and put it on like he normally does and didn't even fucking think about it,
Yeah, that's annoying. And so what you're talking about is the other day when I got Papa Murphy's pizza, which I've gotten every so often. They're very familiar that you don't that they have the marinara sauce and or the garlic oil sauce, and then it's just veggies after that. Well, apparently there's 2 things that could have happened. One is what you're talking about. They would just kind of go on autopilot and start grabbing cheese and then like, stopped mid-process and maybe a couple fell on it or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, the reason I caught it is because I was getting ready to cook the pizza and I noticed a little piece of mozzarella there. I was like, what the fuck? And so I started digging through the whole thing and there was like a couple little pieces here and there. So it just looked like, to me, what I think is either that happened or they used the same glove that they're making other pizzas with, and it was just stuck to the same glove, and they're just grabbing the same cross-contamination. They didn't give a shit about it, and so it's getting in my pizza. And still, I was like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!" It's annoying because, like, the vegan trend is not new. This is something that has been going on now for some time. Hence, the Impossible Burgers. I mean, the Impossible Burger is not even the only one. They have like fucking 8 different brands of, what would you call it? Synthetic meat. Right. Of synthetic meat, which isn't the healthiest for you. It's just a lot healthier option than meat. And it's a good way to transition, and sometimes it just tastes good. But
I think what Roland's saying here though as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You can finish your thought quick though.
no, I forgot what I was even.
My bad.
Yeah,
but
go
what
ahead.
Roland was saying, 90. I can say this because you've worked fast food before, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Roland was saying 98% of people in the food industry don't care, and I feel like that is true because I feel like when you're in the food industry, they don't. It's just customers and they're annoying. You know what I mean? It's like let's just get the fucking order out. If you
and
fuck it up, you're like, sorry, here's another order. You don't really give a shit. And I think it's more the people just don't even fucking care about the actual people. They're just it's just work.
it's just a
They're
job,
yeah, exactly.
and it's a minimum wage job, and that goes to disrespect on the opposite end now to the consumer. There's just an all-around level of disrespect, and now we're talking about disrespecting the consumer from a minimum wage employee's perspective. Yeah, there's no incentive to do a good job and make sure people are getting what they want. It's just like you're only just taking orders. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is what you want. Okay, I'll just follow my orders. There's not really an incentive to make sure you're going to actually follow those orders to a T. There's not really huge repercussions because what's the worst that can happen? You're going to lose this shitty ass job, right?
Right.
You just go get another shitty job. It's just, yeah, that's a great example of consumer disrespect now.
Yeah,
But
I
you're
liked working at the pizza place that I worked at last year because anytime like we got like a vegan customer and I'd be like, oh, I got you. I know exactly what to do for you.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
really cool. But
I
yeah,
mean,
most places aren't like that.
but what I was saying though is, this is not a new movement. Like now I mean, there's a growing population now of people transitioning to a plant-based lifestyle.
Yeah, in
All these
2020,
Yeah, all the businesses have converted. They realize that there's a demand for it, and so now they see the money in it, and so now they're starting to add vegan options to their menu. I mean, all these businesses are starting to convert. A lot of the main chain ones, really. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even think of some right off the top of my head, but there is a lot of them now. They're like Burger King, and I think you
Burger
said
King.
Taco Del Mar, right?
well, Taco Del Mar already kind of naturally has.
I mean, not Taco Del Mar.
Del Taco.
Del Taco.
Del Taco. I'm surprised Taco Bell doesn't have more vegan options. All you can do is get like fresco style bean burrito stuff kind of there. But yeah,
Yeah.
Chipotle,
Chipotle, yeah. So a lot of these,
Red Robin. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them that are just. It makes sense to at least have a couple options on there. So that being the case, it should also. Oh, El Serape has a full vegan menu, dude.
Oh, I
Fucking
forgot about that, dude.
killer too.
I forgot. We were talking about like where are we gonna get food from? Maybe I'll do that tomorrow, man. Fucking El Serape. Hell yeah.
This shit was good, man. But yeah, there should be kind of some kind of food awareness, cross contamination class that's being taught now with this. You know what I mean? Since it's a huge movement, it's just part of customer service. So you should change your fucking gloves. I mean, I think you should be using a different fryer and all that too. Absolutely. There's some steps that can be made, but it's annoying because especially for when you're on the go and you want something quick and it just ruins your menu, your food. You don't have options. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of options for us already. So it's like we depend on that shit to follow through properly. And so if it doesn't, it's like, man, you just fucking ruined my night.
I'm really glad my burger wasn't just like fucking slathered in mayonnaise because I've been like son of a bitch. At least I could just take the top one off and be like, all right.
Maybe it was vegan mayonnaise.
Maybe I wouldn't bet on it though.
Yeah. I mean, one time I was up in Redmond working and I ordered some food from a vegan place. I don't know if it was all vegan or if they just had a lot of vegan options, but when I got it, they had what looked like egg or chicken in it. Mm-hmm. And it looked and tasted like chicken. And I called them and I was like, hey, just double checking. Like I ordered, the tofu or whatever it was. Like, this looks like chicken in here. And they swore up and down. They were like, no, it's not chicken. That's actually this and this and that. And I was like, it was just so close to chicken, man. So I didn't even eat it.
Yeah. One sec. My grandpa said that his battery's getting low. So he said, have a good night, everyone.
All right. Good night, Jim. Chat with you next Wednesday. And then we're
You know what happened to me is I went to Cascadia Grill, and I don't know if this is. Do they have vegan cheese there?
yes.
Okay, see, I was very confused because I ordered. I still don't know if it was vegan cheese or not, but I ordered that like, it's like a hoagie roll with like sausage, like vegan sausage in it.
Yeah, I had that. That's really good.
It has like cheese. It had cheese on it. I wasn't sure if it was real cheese or if it was vegan cheese, so I just kind of like picked it all out and ate it.
It's vegan cheese.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was just like, I don't know.
I go through that every time I first try a place too, like that says they have vegan options. I'm like, I don't know about this. And like, yeah, it's fine.
I usually don't get vegan cheese on things anyways, even if they offer. I'm like, I'll take it without the cheese usually. So
yeah, Garrett worked there for a little bit.
Oh, right. He doesn't work there anymore?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
But yeah, that's our vegan rant. So let's get with the times, people. And who cares if it's a minimum wage job, man? Do your job right.
To be compassionate to your fellow human.
Yeah, I mean, you would exactly just. What is that? The golden rule? Just treat people the way you want to be treated. That's. I'm not religious, but that's just a good way to live life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So. But all right, man. I think we've exhausted our time.
Yeah, definitely. We're cutting it close.
So let's wrap it up, and then we shall. Thanks for joining, Roland, Philip, Jim, anybody else who's been watching, and we'll check in with you guys next Wednesday. Do the plugs real quick here. You can find us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Spotify, Apple, Instagram, and you can also get involved with the Discord chat as well.
I always forget about the Discord now. But yeah.
Oh yeah. That's right. There's not many people on there, right? Well, hopefully that changes. But all right, guys. Well, it's been good for episode 42. We shall see you on Wednesday. But until then, keep it viral.
Keep it contagious.
See ya.